I have come to the conclusion that I have to be very careful. I can't afford to lose Facebook, not because I can't reach my friends in other means, I can, but it's because of the health groups. I'm able to save many lives with the research that I have done over the past 37 years. And that can't be done on Twitter and it can't be done on YouTube. It could have been done in a podcast if I was famous enough, but not having been able to get published because I sacrificed myself to rescue my mother. So that's in my autobiography. I'm not going to talk about that, but it's too important. I have finished the work that I know I was sent here to do, and it's on two websites, and it'll be there for the next 200 years. But unfortunately, I didn't realize until recently that I could save lives now. I didn't have to wait for 200 years um, for genetic mutations to produce millions of children with Parkinsonism disease and the brain damage that I have, that I acquired. Wasn't born with it, but it develops, and as you get poisoned, you pass a genetic mutation to your offspring, and that's been well documented by scientists, but you won't find anything like that from a doctor because they're not talking about pollution and poisoning. So there's too many people who have lost their homes and their income and their careers, just as I did, because of the medical dark ages on being poisoned. And a simple little food, technically a herb, okra, will reverse all of that. And it's kept me alive and out of a wheelchair and dancing and skiing at 80 years old. And I first crippled in 1947, and I lost all memory in 1984. And that's when I lost my career. I couldn't read or write beyond the level of a 5-year-old child. So I don't want to make this too long, but I just want to warn people that if you really are using Facebook to help others, you'll have to go to YouTube and Twitter to be political, because you can't depend on Facebook. All I said was that Putin is a maniac, which he is. Now, I did make a sweeping statement that Russians are dumb. No, they're not all dumb. That's for sure. What I meant by that was that because of the lack of education and the fake news and the propaganda and the brainwashing in Russia, that's what's kept them in the control of a dictatorship for over 300 years. My father's father worked for the Tsar. He was Ukrainian, or maybe he was Polish, or maybe he was Russian. Hard to say because he was a Cossack. But my father's mother was definitely Ukrainian, and she was a Majorca. And her father didn't have to leave Russia during the Bolshevik Revolution, but my grandfather did, because as a white Russian in the service of the Tsar, he was on a death threat. So he fled to Russia with his wife, Anna, in 1912. And when World War I broke out, he offered his services, because he was a great warrior and well trained, to the Canadian Army, and got mustard gas and was never able to properly work again. He turned to alcohol and womanizing and violence, and it's not a very pretty story. But he genetically had violence in him anyway, and it passed on to my father and to my brother. So there are many factors that will destroy the human species. I was surprised to learn that I have a lot in common with Elon Musk. I didn't think so, because everything I do is for free and everything he does is to make money. But the bottom line is that he's using the money to get us to another planet safely to preserve our species. And in that way, we're both on the same track. I'm attempting and have found a way to reverse much of the brain damage and to preserve the intelligence and health of our species. So we have a lot in common, strangely enough. Okay, I'm not very popular, but someday I will be. And over and out, and I must no longer use Facebook as a political platform. Too many lives are at stake, and that's, I'm not here to change the politics. My job is to change our diet and help us get well. And may the creator of the universe send down the angels. If they could pull me from a cliff when I was about to kill myself and stop me, if they wanted to, they could stop this invasion in the Ukraine. And I am praying that they send the angels to stop it. As for the punishment, that will come in time to Putin and his gangsters.